Alrighty guys, we're back for Boros Enchantments, and this is a Lost Caverns of Ixalan Standard Brew, and I'm Redcat. Let's go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked, rockin' all for Michiko's Reign of Truth. And this is a 2-mana enchantment saga, first 2 chapters. Target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each artifact and or enchantment you control. Nice. Of course, chapter 3, you exile it, return it as Portrait of Michiko. It is a 0/0 enchantment creature, and then it gets +1/+1 for each artifact and or enchantment you control. Pretty powerful card, guys. We get to see it all the time in Celestia enchantments, but I thought we'd go over it since it's kind of the centerpiece of this build. So we do have some artifacts packed in here, like Skrelv Defector Mite, acting as our protection as well, which is going to be very important as we're trying to slam some auras on creatures, like Hammerhand, for example. A 1-mana enchantment aura, and enchant creature, of course. When it ETBs, target creature can't block this turn. Nice. Take that Shieldred out of the blocking equation. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has haste as well. Pretty decent card, man. But it kind of has been outshined recently by Monstrous Rage, of course. 1-mana instant speed. Target creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn, and then you create a monster roll attached to it. Of course, that's an aura. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has trample. Pretty darn good, man. Now, the big thing with rolls here, especially in this build, this is going to be important. If a creature has more than one roll controlled by the same player attached to it, all but the most recent one is put into the graveyard. That is going to be important for this build. We have other ways to get rolls out. So we have Sticky Fingers in here too. This is a 1-mana aura enchant creature. Enchanted creature has menace, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. When enchanted creature dies, draw a card. Pretty good, man. It makes me a little sad that we don't get to see Sticky Fingers too often. Like, the menace goes a long way. Of course, the treasure ramp and mana fixing goes a long way, right? And then also when the creature dies, it replaces itself. Beautiful, man. There's a lot of exile removal too, so that's going to stop the whole die trigger from happening. But still, man, I love that card. Here's some creatures. We got 4 Charming Scoundrels. Yep, creating those wicked rolls could really come in handy. Also, the treasure tokens, again, like mana fixing and ramp, could really come in handy in here too, because I'm getting really, really greedy with the mana base. I wanted to make sure I had about 14 basic lands in here, because our main removal is Ossification. Excellent piece of removal. Hits creatures or planeswalker. Nice. We do have more removal, though, with a couple borrowed times. Just being able to exile target non-land permanent should come in handy. And then also, we don't need a basic land to attach this to either. Just like solid piece of removal. Hopefully the 3 mana isn't too expensive in here, especially if we are like ramping with Scoundrel or Sticky Fingers and stuff. Might as well finish going over the 2 mana spot. We got Spellbook Vendor too. So this is a 2 mana 2/2 with Vigilance, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, you may pay 1. When you do, create a sorcerer role token attached to target creature you control. Now, the sorcerer role, of course, is an aura. Into creature gets +1/+1 and has, whenever this creature attacks, scry 1. Nice. Skip something over here in the 1 mana spot. Of course, all 4 Kumano faces Kakkazan's very powerful enchantment. Of course, it's going to work well in here regardless. It flips into an enchantment creature too. The etching of Kumano's exile ability comes into play like all the time as well. Like when the opponent blocks, you know, exiling things just is way better than you would ever expect, especially like Golgari. Like, there's definitely stuff in Golgari that you wouldn't mind exiling. Dread Knight, right, is what comes to mind. Tenacious Underdog, stuff like that. Okay, we got one more thing to go over in the 3 mana spot. Might as well go there. Katilda, Dawnhart, Martyr. 3 mana, legendary creature, flying, lifelink, protection from vampires. Do we see enough vampires for that to come in handy? Honestly, yeah, I think we do, right? Just went up against like an Olivia build not too long ago. That was pretty sick, right? It was like a reanimator style. Like Katilda blocking Olivia would have been amazing in that one. Also, there's some new vampires from the new set too, like the 4 mana one that doubles the amount of life loss. That's a vampire. That's pretty neat. Anyways, Katilda's power and toughness are each equal to the number of permanents you control that are spirits and or enchantments. Nice. Now, it doesn't work with like artifacts the way Michiko's Reign of Truth goes, but you know, we should have enough enchantments on this board to make it worthwhile. Also has that Disturb, where for 5 mana, it's Katilda's Rising Dawn, and it's essentially, it's an aura, legendary enchantment. that turns a creature into Katilda, Dawnhart, Martyr, essentially is how that reads. Now we do have a really sick top end, all for Archon of the Wild Rose. 4 mana, 4/4, flying, not bad. Other creatures you control that are enchanted by auras you control have base power and toughness, 4/4, and have flying. So obviously that's kind of our main win condition. We get a couple creatures down, we get the ball rolling, get a little bit of damage through and whatnot. We get the ball rolling with some auras. We drop the Archon on turn 4 or turn 5, and then we swing in the air and we win that way. Sounds like it could be really good. Like I said, I was pretty greedy with the mana base. I didn't want anything to hold me up, really. So, yeah, 14 basics. Of course, Crucible made the cut. Seed of the Empire made the cut. We do have a couple Restless Bivouacs because the Restless Land is going that extra mile for me in like every game I play them with. And then opting for the Fast Land with Battlefield Forge. Okay, a bunch of honorable mentions to go over real quick. If there was any list to include a Tale for the Ages in, it was this list, but I couldn't find room for it this time, and I don't really want to drop anything either. I feel like it would be very awkward to drop, like, I don't know, like an Ossification for a one of Tale of the Ages, because like every Ossification we see is going to come in handy. So, yeah, not this time round, but it would have been really neat in here, huh? What about cards like Planar Disruption if I didn't want to get as greedy with the mana base, but I think Ossification is just going to be better just way more often than not. So a Spirited Companion almost made the cut. Love that it replaces itself. I just opted for a more aggressive style of this build for sure. Spirited Companion, maybe if we go like Boros Enchantments and then slip it into mid-range or something, that could be pretty neat. Thought about Twin Blade Geist, could be a neat one as well. Light Paws, I feel like Light Paws needs a dedicated build, and even so, in the current standard, I think we're just going to get our soul crushed a little bit because like Light Paws is going to die to absolutely everything, literally everything. So, and funny enough, I thought about Adeline over Katilda just because I wanted more creature generation, but then I was just like, you know what, this is an enchantment build, dude. Like, it's Katilda. Draconic Destiny almost made the cut. I thought about Mechanized Warfare, but it is red or artifact sources you control, so it doesn't count our white sources, so I think that would actually not be the greatest. And then, of course, Sundown Pass, like I said, I'm opting for a greedy mana base, and hopefully it's totally fine, especially with our treasure generation. Okay, guys, is that everything? Hopefully, let's go ahead, take it into some ranked, and see how we do. All right, we'll see if we can get right into that first game here. In the meantime, what am I expecting from the build? Okay, I don't know exactly what to expect, but I will say this. I played one test game. I wanted to make sure that the mana wasn't going to hold me up. And so I just wanted to play one test game, and I obliterated the opponent. So we'll see. And maybe I just got really, really lucky in that test game, so. Okay, opponent goes first. This isn't a bad hand, right? I think this is fine. Like, the 4 mana might be a little excessive, but... yeah, we'll see. Pretty much anything we draw that isn't a land is going to be a good draw. Any of our 1-drops, any of our 2s, any of our 3s, of course any of our 4s, since we already have the mana for it and we curve out a little bit nicely. All right. Waiting for the opponent here. We'll go ahead and pause the recording until they show up. Okay, the opponent has arrived. Let's go ahead and start with that Restless Bivouac. Not a bad draw, actually. I was like, yeah, anything outside of a land, but then Restless Bivouac at least comes in tapped, so. Okay, I'm gonna go... Oh, wrong card. I'm gonna go Charming Scoundrel. Kumano's good, but like... Oh, maybe I should have filtered out one of these lands. Yeah, if they're just going to remove it anyways, maybe I could have filtered out a land. Oh, a couple map tokens though, huh? I don't mind that. Oh, Field of Ruin. I guess Bivouac isn't going to be surviving. Katilda probably ends up dying as well. But it's probably still Katilda for the turn, right? Having Kumano and Ossification open on the same on the same turn was the concept, but I suppose we might be up against Boros Control. If Katilda dies, at least we'll be able to disturb it out later, which isn't terrible. I would have much rather tried to get that +1/+1 counter from the Kumano onto the Katilda, so maybe if we tried that last turn too, then we would have just had an awkward open mana as well, so. Restless Anchorage. It is not Boros. It is not Boros, man. Alright, well. It's swinging with Bivouac. For a target non-basic land. Yep, that's open for them too, so. Bivouac is not going to do much this game. Ossification not having any targets either. Alright, we're going to go ahead, get Kumano down before combat, because of course it affects combat. We're going to double down on some map tokens and hope that Katilda does not get picked up by spot removal here right away. Sticky fingers. Alright, I'm going to send that actually because I don't think our creatures are going to survive the turn. This is very much a Sunfall style build too, if it is Jeskai, right? So yep, we'll go the other map token and get the Skrelv down. Or I could... No, I should try the Skrelv. Even though I think that it's going to get a board wipe, I should try the Skrelv anyways. Nice, not bad. Getting that damage through is pretty huge for us. This is a lot of mana though, but at least the map tokens helped us out. They go Fateful Absence on the Skrelv to make sure we don't have protection for the Katilda, so potentially no board wipe here. Might just be a Wandering Emperor turn. Ossification does pick up the Emperor, but if they go, okay. If they go -2, it's just at 1 anyways, so maybe we can find the way through. Oh yeah, Bivouac's still around. Bivouac swings. Good at least. We could start with the draw. Then we can't. Cost 2. That was almost bad. We only have 1 open, unfortunately. No creature to play out for the Kumano's extra. We definitely have to make sure that the Wandering Emperor dies, though. Like, period. Oh, it wasn't exile for the Katilda too, so we won't have the disturb on that, unfortunately. Experimental Augury, grab a land, right? I'm pretty sure they're looking for land. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, well, I'll give you some land, opponent. I'll gladly pass some land over to you, buddy. This is a lot. This is a lot of land. See what we draw here. Skrelv. Okay. It's swing for the turn, though, over Skrelv, right? I suppose so. I suppose. So Forge is fine. And we buff the Etching, since we know that Field of Ruin can take out the Restless Bivouac whenever they're ready. Whenever they're ready to do that, yeah. Yeah, this is a lot of mana, man. How much land do I have packed in here? I just got done playing a deck with 28 land, and in some of the games, it definitely didn't feel like 28. This feels like 28, though. Definitely shouldn't, I hope. I hope I didn't make a mistake somewhere. Okay, Field of Ruin is open this time, so as soon as we waste mana on the Bivouac, I'm assuming they're going to go ahead and take it out. Destroy target non-basic land an opponent controls. Yeah. So, Michiko's Reign of Truth. Maybe if we buff the Etching, they go for removal on that instead. So Skrelv first, because it's an artifact, which gives us more power onto the Reign of Truth. Okay, looks like we're going to take a damage from the Forge if we try buffing, or if we try going Restless Bivouac. But since that's 6, they're definitely going to have to target the Bivouac here. Worth the damage, though, because if they end up spending mana from their hand to take out Etching, right? Yeah, so either way, we were going to do something there. We get to thin the deck out. We'll go ahead and grab a Plains. Fine, Because I don't want to play Seat of the Empire. We definitely just want to keep that as utility. Swing for 6. Okay. Opponent has double white on the board now, so Sunfall could come down. Yeah. Okay. Okay. It's not too bad for us because we're almost there. Without that Bivouac, yeah, you can see why we're seeing a lot more Field of Ruin recently. Michiko flips next turn. One is down to 2. We could like Borrowed Time the Incubator, but we'll wait. I mean, maybe they power up and swing. I doubt that, but yeah, we should hold. We should hold everything. Kumano was actually a good draw since it actually dealt more damage as well. Okay, they found their 6th mana. Showcasing the terrible power of Wandering Emperor, right? Them chilling. Them chilling at 2 because they gained 2 off the Wandering Emperor's exile, right? Like, how often does that happen? It actually feels like it happens a lot. Experimental Augury. So they risked... Oh. Since they were gaining 2 off of the Quintorius anyways, they went ahead and paid 2 for the Pain lands. Okay, that makes sense to me, actually. So Hammerhand off the top would have been sick. That would have won us the game, actually, guys, because we could have given haste to the Portrait of Michiko. I guess Ossification, pick up the Quintorius. Since that only hits non-basics too, we don't got to worry about that happening. That does buff the Portrait. Kumano flips next turn, but like we're in trouble, guys. Like we know how control operates, and I don't know who's favored here. It's very close. Because at any point they could fizzle out of removal as well. Farewell. They get the Quintorius back, guys. Oh no, dude. Holy cow. Yeah, that's rough, man. And that's just farewell number 1. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Okay. Maybe I should have... No. Never mind. I was going to say, if we kept that in hand, maybe we could have had some surprise damage slipping through. I'm going to keep the Borrowed Time again. Same concept. Ossification. Get that Quintorius off of this board. We don't want them to generate anything from it. And we still have Seat of the Empire open to take out the Incubator if they choose to swing with it. Which they probably don't. They want it as a blocker for sure. Yeah, that was rough. That was pretty bad. Control doing the control thing very nicely. We flooded it out early on. You know what, man? Yeah, feels pretty good. Don't mind this at all. Like, it feels like it can totally get there. Now, the opponent missed some land early on, and they had, like, double Field of Ruins. Oh, look at this. They're running all 4 Field of Ruins. They are very concerned about the Restless lands. How long have I been saying that the Restless lands have been going a very long way, and now we're seeing some pushback for that? That's really funny. Yeah, man, I think it's worth it. If you're playing Control... Now, I'm not sure if all 4 is worth it. I do think that will hold you up every now and then. 2 to 3. I could totally see that. What do you guys think? Or are you a Control player and you are also just rocking all 4 Field of Ruins? Opponent is using the timer. Shall I pause? I shall pause until the opponent shows up. Okay, I think the opponent showed up and passed it back. I'm not really sure. I don't think the timer ran down. Yeah, they still have 2 timers over here, so. Okay, well, Spellbook Vendor, that's a draw. I don't mind that at all. And I'll tell you what. A Hammerhand off the top again for, like, next turn. Anything that gives these haste would be really, really good. So if you're up against a lot of control, maybe we want to talk about 3 to 4 Hammerhands. If you go up 3 Hammerhands, maybe drop like a Sticky Fingers. One thing I'm seeing from this game is, yeah, we have had a hard time with creatures, but that's just because we went up against a lot of removal too. 3 different board wipes. Wait. 2 2 different board wipes and a lot of spot removal. Opponent is holding us up again. I'm not really sure what's going on. They might be freezing. Benefit of the doubt, right? There we go. There we go. Okay. Spellbook Vendor will pay the 1. Michiko, Reign of Truth flipping next turn. If we would have been able to keep that other Kumano on the board too. Man, Farewell is so rough. It's so rough, man. I'm not 100% sure what the opponent's doing, but it kind of feels... Maybe they're like lagging out or something, you know? Yeah, benefit of the doubt. Spellbook Vendor. I shall pay. Opponent, I shall pay my 1. So, Borrowed Time is still the best one to keep in hand outside... Like, playing the Ossification on the Khand was definitely best thing, right? Because there still could be an enchantment or something in their build. Yeah, even though we had the mana for the Borrowed Time, it definitely was worth saving back instead of Ossification. Hammerhand's the only card in here that can actually give haste, I believe, and it's the only card with haste outside of flipping the Kumano, which we do have all 4 Kumanos. Any more of those off the top wouldn't be bad, because any amount of extra damage slipping to the opponent's face could be really good too. Opponent is about to use their last timer, guys. It sure feels like they're lagging out or something. You know what I mean? Because they're not like spamming emotes or anything. I feel like they're favored pretty well here too. They're not using their Get Lost. They didn't power up the incubator. Something's going on. Something's happening, right? I kind of feel bad. But should I feel bad after that farewell? No. Yeah, no, we'll go ahead and pause to see exactly what's going on here. Okay, so the opponent showed up. They went ahead and played Urza Lord Protector. They did pass it back to us. Now they do have Get Lost open and ready to go. Is the Borrowed Time worth it on the Urza Lord Protector? And don't forget they can power up the Incubator too. The swing on this, it does have Vigilance. It's a terrific block for them, it really is. So for now, we're going to go Spellbook Vendor. We're probably going to use both of these abilities. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it looks like the opponent showed up now. We do remove this and they have like another farewell. It's just like GG, we'll give it to them, right? Okay, I'll pick it up. I'll pick it up because instants and sorceries they cast cost 1 less to cast. Well, maybe I should just hit the incubator. No, I'll grab the Urza. That makes more sense. We're going to attempt the swing too, but of course we know they have the Get Lost in their hand, unfortunately. Not going to stop me from going and using its ability to turn these into some sorcerers. Although we could have swung and used Seat of the Empire too, and then Borrowed Time on the incubator, but we still have... No, never mind. Never mind, now we don't, because we only have 2 open. Okay, Spellbook Vendor. Portrait of Michiko. Pretty sick, dude. Obviously they have to use that removal if we swing. We get a Scry. Borrowed Time. I'm just looking for something to slip damage through. I guess Borrowed Time could help. So it's either Incubator or Get Lost. It's going to be the Incubator block. They have Get Lost for another one. All we need to do is keep 1 creature on this board, man. Come on. 1 creature. We know Get Lost is using one of these. Was it worth the swing? Yeah, I think so. For the Scry, especially if... Okay, guys. Let's see what's on top of the deck. Give it to the opponent. Hop into the next one. Because this has been a really long game too, huh? At least it feels really long. I know I was paused for a good amount of time too. It is land. Okay. Good game, opponent. See if I can find the concede button this time. Farewell's a very brutal card when your main removal is like those enchantment removals, because yeah, they get all the goodies back once they drop the Farewell. Of course, removing all of our enchantments too. Our deck overall performed relatively slowly. I feel like because we flooded a little bit. Don't worry guys, we're not done. I just wanted to double check. 22 land. Okay, well that did not feel like 22. That definitely did not feel like 22. Now the extra mana did come in handy a few times there. So don't get me wrong, right? Like you know, you're gonna need 5 mana every now and then to actually do the thing. But it definitely felt like too much. Not throughout that game. Yeah, the Wandering Emperor, that little bit of life gain always pushes a little bit too far. When it goes first, not a bad hand, I suppose. I would have much rather the Sticky Fingers be Kumano, so that way the vendor could come in as a 3/3 Vigilance. That's actually really good if you think about it, right? Kumano's so insane. Alright, we'll start with one of the mountains since we're seeing a lot of them. We don't have the double white for the Archon. Oh, crap. Oh dear. What exactly went first over there? I'm scared, man. Don't have the mana. Vendor, I have a bad feeling about this, Vendor. I have a bad feeling about this. Voice of the Blessed, it's alive! Oh, we up against some clerics, maybe? Or just like life gain, I suppose. Could be a thing. They're checking out the vendor. They're wondering, is my cut down worth this card? The answer would be yes. Oh, they're wondering if we were going to trade. No, we're not going to trade. Not yet. Ellis Ilcor, though, is pretty good. Michiko's Reign of Truth. Okay, we're going to go Sticky Fingers. It is not a cut down. That is huge for us, man. Vigilance. So, like, if we're going, man. Let's do this. Michiko's Reign of Truth. Get a little bit of extra damage through. We get that ramp so the Archon can drop next turn, and then it's more damage on the Reign of Truth as well when it comes time. Well, realistically, we just want Vendor to survive the turn, because then we have a huge swing next turn. There were some lines of play there that we could have considered if we wanted Vendor down instead. Either way, I wanted Sticky Fingers. Oh, buddy, Sheoldred. Well, at least we'll fly over that. Voice of the Blessed, getting that buff. Not worth the trade, although we would get a card draw on the Sticky Fingers. Not worth the trade, though. We take the 6. We're taking 8 total because we draw. And Sheoldred is making us sweat. Alright, let's see it. Let's see it. Ossification, dude. Really good. So what do I want to do? So Vendor's getting through. We go Ossification on this Sheoldred. We might be able to survive the turn. This buffs it by 2, brings it into the air. So first of all, Mountain, because that's all we have. I am thinking opponent. Flips next turn. We have to survive, but I also want to do as much damage as possible. You gotta remember Vigilance too, right? So we'll have the Archon as a blocker. Monstrous Rage open. Is it silly not to remove Sheoldred this turn? Yes. It is absolutely 110% super duper silly. Instead of Monstrous Rage, we better just use this instead, right? Probably. Monstrous Rage is more. Making the Archon a 5/5 could be good. But I'm just gonna buff the Vendor. So that way I can get the Scry. Charming Scoundrel. Treasure for a second white source. It's an extra creature that blocks on the ground at least. Then we can still go Ossification for removal. I like it. Also, we're getting a treasure here too. the Monstrous Rage could help us take care of Shieldred through a block if they go that route. Okay, risky play with the Archon, guys. Let's see what ends up happening here, because Ossification obviously was like, that's probably the best play, but opting for damage, we might just be able to win in the air next turn. Michiko flips. Okay, getting Voice of the Blessed to 6 is pretty good. It does have Vigilance now, too. A full swing is probably coming from the opponent. Holy cow, dude. Why does it feel like they're doing a lot on their turn? They only played 2 things, but like, everything's popping off. Full swing, right? How much did they gain? Only 2. Okay, we're fine. They go for the swing with the Shieldred. Yeah, they're going. Take 9, block Shieldred. Swing in the air. Resplendent Angel. We got the Monstrous Rage. Oh no, we're in trouble, dude. If we try to take out Voice of the Blessed with the Archon, then Spellbook Vendor loses that flying. What if it's actually Vendor to Voice, draw a card with Scoundrel, go Monstrous Rage, get over the Voice, take 6 for the turn, another 2. Because then the Vigilant flyers out of the air, and then they just have the Resplendent, but then we won't have Trample from the Monstrous Rage. I think we're just in trouble. That was a wild turn for the opponent. 2 cards played, absolutely insane for their board state. Draw a card. Oh, draw a card. We're dead. We're dead, guys. GG opponent. Another proof of concept. Shieldred's too good to be left alive. Ah, man. So obviously I didn't want to draw off of the sticky fingers there, but we wanted to draw, but Shieldred punishes you for the draw. Was there a way through? Yeah, maybe. On our turn, instead of getting greedy with the Archon, we first of all Ossification the Shieldred, right? We still had a treasure open for the turn. Archon wasn't coming down then, but like Vendor number 2 could have come down. Yeah, guys. Oh, definitely. Oh, blame me for that one for sure. I feel like we could have actually found a way through there. 100%. I got greedy with that damage. You got to take care of Shieldred immediately. What that means is for the rest of the evening, I will not get greedy when Shieldred is on the board. We'll make sure to clean that up, right? Although outside of that, if we had just a couple extra health, if like we were going down to 1 or something off of the Sticky Fingers draw, then that was still a worthwhile risk. Charming Scoundrel, Wicked Roll, gets it into the air with the Archon. Ossification, clean up their flyer, full swing. Actually, that would have been game there too, huh? Yeah, wow, that was a close one actually, I think. I have to go back and rewatch that to see. More white sources would be good. We do have treasure on Scoundrel. Opponent goes first, unfortunately. At least we have a turn 1 Skrelv, turn 2 Charming. Maybe we'll be able to do a fancy thing with the Reign of Truth. Ooh, Generous Visitor, guys. Okay. We should be scared. We should be very scared. I am on a massive loss streak against Selesnya enchantments. I think maybe the curse is back. I don't remember the last time I won against Selesnya enchantments. The last curse, it was really funny. It was against soldiers. We must have lost like 20 games of soldiers before we finally won one. Okay. Yeah, it's gotta be Scoundrel, but I'm gonna wait the turn. Do I actually just want to ramp here instead? Okay. I'm opting for the ramp. Unfortunately, Selesnya Enchantments has a lot of great removal. And it looks like they're setting up here for their enchantments in hand as well. So I think that's okay. Even if we see like a white source off the top, maybe that'll hold us back for the turn. Alex comes down. Look at their 1, 2, 3, man. So clean. Very nice. Buffing all into the Kami of Transients for the sake of the trample. Going 1 into Visitor to get around the Scoundrel. We could pair 1, trade into Kami of Transients. Eventually they bring it back, but at least we have that trade for now. We risked the last game. You know what? Let's risk this game too. Let's just take the 6. Because unfortunately, I know that it's really early in the match here, but I think this is heavily leaning towards the opponent. That's a wild board state. None of our removals in hand to clean any of this up too, so... Okay, Battlefield Forge. So Sticky Finger, we get a little bit of ramp off of that at least. We can't block with Skrelv. Are we just like dead next turn? If we can get Archon down to at least block Visitor. We swing through, get 1. Yeah, no, we're in some serious trouble, man. I guess we should have just kept Scoundrel back as a blocker and not worried about getting an aura on the board. And then double white from treasures. Because now we're going to have to pay 2 from the Skrelv to protect the Archon. Still a decent, like a really good line of play, but when you're up against Selesnya enchantments curving out like that, like it's going to be an uphill battle, you know? At least Skrelv is actually acting as protection for this one. But we're getting very, very dangerously low. Audacity on the Calyx, dude. Dude, I'm scared. At 6, 11 with Trample. Michiko's Reign of Truth. I think they just won. Yeah. Dude, GG opponent. Oh my goodness. So we don't have any great blocks here at all. I guess we just block this and then we take lethal damage regardless. GG, man. We didn't even get our turn 4. Good game. That's why, you know, we're seeing a lot of mono red obviously because it does that same thing. Like, is mono red going to give you that 4th turn is a big question when you're building certain decks and whatnot. And the same is true for Selesnya enchantments. I mean, look at this. It was so clean. A beautiful curve out. You could see why so many people are opting for earlier board wipes too. Like we saw a lot of Sunfall for a while, but now we're seeing a little bit more Depopulate pop up. We're seeing some Path of Peril. Every time I say Path of Peril, I always want to say Path of Exile instead. But we are seeing some of that pop up too. Just like early spot removal, of course. Seeing a lot more Liliana. Like Liliana would have been pretty good there, right? At the very least, like you have, you know, turn 1 cut down, turn 2 go for the throw, drop the Liliana, making Selesnya enchantments cry. Now that would have been, I mean, I guess some decks do have that much spot removal, so. Yeah. Okay, let's give it a shot. Opponent goes first, unfortunately. I'm scared, guys. Uphill battle. Or uphill battles today, I suppose. Let's start with the Battlefield Forge. Tenacious Underdog. Okay. So again, we could ramp with the Scoundrel. It's not bad. Trade into Underdog isn't good for us, so... Spellbook Vendor, try to set up for next turn is probably a little better. It probably gets removed though too, so if we ramp on Scoundrel into Wild Rose, again, yeah, up against Mono Black, you gotta expect spot removal for a little while. So we're just not going for ramp, we're just going to try to set up something. If we play our Plains, second Vendor next turn, at least we'll get a Sorcerer roll out of it, right? Or we could double down here and see, like we could go Scoundrel, Treasure, Vendor. Now that we have our 4th, that's not terrible, but we're relying, well, I guess it's actually just going to be Vendor, use its ability, because at least it'll be a 3/3. Doesn't look like it's a cut down here, so that's good. Hopefully that Liliana that we were just talking about doesn't happen. Flesh Gorger, nice, dude. The great swing with the underdog, too, because that's an excellent trade in their favor. Kumano. We start swinging in the air. We have Vigilance. The good swing. It is. At what point do we have to start sweating, though? They have life gain on the Flesh Gorger for sure. If the Wild Rose can actually stay on this board, then we have a great next turn. A really, really good next turn. Michiko, Raid of Truth. Dude, okay. Let's give it a shot, man. Let's try to double down on Michiko, Reign of Truth, and try to win next turn, huh? 1, 2. Actually, we only have 1 enchantment on the board. It'll be 2 once Reign of Truth comes down, so that's not even that much. Going for that swing, huh? What? Opponent? Come back! I would have played that one out so bad, dude. Oh, no. Okay, so they went for the full swing and they decided, well, so they didn't have anything fancy. So, like, first of all, we weren't going to double block Flesh Gorger because I guess, hold on. If it was a go for the throat, yeah, they go for the throat the Archon and Vendor loses all of its power, then Flesh Gorger picks up the Vendor. So we weren't going to double block there for sure. Any amount of spot removal. And it's mono black, they had triple swamps over there. So if anything, we were going to block the Tenacious Underdog with the Archon, which also seems relatively risky. And then they were still going back up to 18 anyways. Ah, man, I don't know. I guess it depends what they had in hand. Yeah, we weren't going Vendor into anything out of fear of spot removal for the Archon. 41 minutes in, guys. What do you think? Go one more. Go one more. If it ends up taking too long, we'll just give it to the opponent. No worries at all. Man, I really would have loved to play that last one out. We had a great setup. I feel like the hand was looking good too. I love that we had the second Archon to play when it came time. We go first. Dude, sweet hand. Let's do this. I suppose... Again, I'm looking at these sticky fingers like, why aren't you Kumano? I'm actually going to go Plains this time round. Okay, Swamp from the opponent. Dread Fugue? Fugue? Fugue. Yes. What are they going to hit here? Charming Scoundrel, maybe? Use a non-land card from it with mana value 2 or less. That's everything in our hands, so... Probably not Vendor since we have 2 of them. And Scoundrel helps us ramp. They go Reign of Truth, actually. They don't want any explosive damage getting through, I suppose. We're going to opt for ramp on Scoundrel, guys. Over Vendor. Just based on what this hand is looking like. Actually, might as well get Sticky Fingers down then, too, because it replaces the treasure. Yeah, might as well. Pretty good. And we could have saved the treasure, attempted Sticky Fingers on it next turn, but like if it dies, Spellbook Vendor doesn't have haste or anything, so Sticky Fingers would just be chilling for a turn, you know? Luckily, we get replacement for Sticky Fingers then. Ooh. Ooh, okay. That's enough land. That's enough slices for now. We will hold off on the Archon. Spellbook Vendor. Hold off, right? Onto the Vendor, see what happens. How you guys feel about taking it a little slow there? If we went 2 Vendors, we'd only have 4 mana for next turn, and we wouldn't have any Sorcerer rolls. Flesh Gorger making an appearance. Okay, that's enough land for now. It's definitely enough land. At this point, we kind of sort of want the Archon of the Wild Rose to be a surprise, but what's stopping them from paying 3 mana cleave on a Dread Fugue? what's stopping them from just having instant spot removal for the Archon? I think we might be in trouble here if we see more land next turn too, guys. So let's just... You know what? Do we pay this? Yeah, we pay this. We definitely pay this while we can. Scry Katilda. Ooh. I like the flying. I like that when it dies, we have that disturb. I'm keeping that on top. Even though it's not like... It's not that big of power and toughness, I think it's pretty good against what we're up against right now. Wait a minute. Guys, this is Dimir. Okay, Archon's out of the equation. They probably swing with Flesh Gorger because they gain 3. Oh, they're taking all of our Archons out of this equation, guys. Oh, crap. The end. One that we don't see too often, but it's pretty darn good, isn't it? More land. Hey, it's Bivouac at least, so that's something. We do get a Scry here, too. And we're only going to pay 1 because, of course, they replace themselves. Swing for 3. Get that Scry. Seed of the Empire. Could take care of the Flesh Gorger, but, I mean, there's just, like, better stuff that we could be seeing right now. And, like, we really desperately need to see it. There's our poor Archon of the Wild Rose exiled. That's rough, man. So yeah, we can't rely on any explosive goodies. Wait, should I have double blocked? No. Our board state is much better than second Bivouac. Okay. So they trade first Bivouac in. We bluff the Spell Vendor. Oh, you know what? Is that worthwhile? Full swing. They trade into Bivouac, and then we buff one of the vendors. Ah! Ah! Decline! Decline! Go back! No, guys, I clicked through it. Oh, no. The Z button is not letting me go back. Oh, no, guys. Is there any way? Well, if we lose for any reason now, I guess we gotta blame that, huh? Okay, borrowed time. We might as well keep that on top. Dude, that really sucks. What ends up happening here? Yeah, so they trade in. It's a really good trade for them. Bivouac turns into a land, so it loses the roll anyways. Guys, what did I even click that started the vendor going that we couldn't go back with? So anyways, yeah, Bivouac was our final land to tap through for the other vendor's ability, and I couldn't go back. Maybe I'm missing a button. Let me know. Let me know in the comments if there's a button that I could have pressed that actually would have went back from that ability, because that was devastating, dude. Because that would have been an excellent swing. Trade into Bivouac, 7 damage to the opponent's face from the 2 vigilant vendors, and then one of them would have been a 4/4 as well. Careful with the auto tapper too. Just careful with the interface in general. Oh my goodness, man. That's rough business. I can't power both of these up because I played the Kumano. It doesn't matter because we're like dead next turn. But yeah, rough, man. I think they gained enough from Flesh Gorger this game to have survived that swing last turn anyways. Oh, cut down for the Bivouac. Woo, buddy, that's rough business. Still got a good swing here though. So we can decline this because they don't stack. Scry Hammerhand. That actually could have been pretty good. Not against Flesh Gorger, but just like in general, it would have been nice to see today, huh? Flesh Gorger gets through, we're forced to block the Restless Reef, and then Flesh Gorger gets through next turn. Or we could keep the Restless Bivouac open, but they probably will have some form of removal at that point. Instead of powering up the Reef, they actually go for the Underdog. That makes more sense, because now they get some card draw off of this, and we're still forced to block. So, nice play, opponent. Yeah, I can't believe I did that, though. Yeah, no, I think they were going to win regardless. But what I guess what really sucks is that we couldn't take it back after we clicked through it. You know what I mean? Good game, opponent. Get that swing on in. Mana flips next turn. Oh, they milled us. That's why the borrowed time. Yeah. They milled us with the Restless Reef over there. Demir's looking scary, but I don't know what the blue is in there for outside of the Restless. It very well could have been mono black splash of blue for Restless Land, which is, I mean, good enough reason for me, man. Restless Land are sound like a broken record, but it's very good. Goes a very long way. Okay. Boros Enchantments. Here's the deck list again, guys. Actually really liked it. It was some super tough battles today, man. And look, I know the meta's rough anyways, but that was a tough time. And then I had some misplays here and there and misclicks, which are the worst, bro. Misplays, you can learn from them. You can say, hey, I shouldn't have done that. I should have removed that Shieldred, right? Like, that's definitely on me. Like, next time I'll remove that Shieldred instead. Misclicks is just like, I fumbled my keys, or I clicked through too fast. I got a little hasty. I guess technically you can learn from those two, try to slow down a little bit, but you guys know what I mean, right? The misclicks feel really bad. Hammerhand, man. I think I might drop a Sticky Finger, go up a third Hammerhand. I wouldn't mind that, but it's going to depend what you're seeing. What we saw today, we needed more haste, like a lot more haste. And Hammerhand, are we going to have enough mana on the board to play our creature and give it haste with Hammerhand? Honestly, probably not, especially if you drop down that Sticky Fingers. Sticky Fingers was actually pretty good, getting some extra treasure. All the extra treasure from this and the Scoundrel did do a lot, and I'd say it was worthwhile going treasure off a Scoundrel instead of Wicked Roll, as we just kind of assumed the removal from the opponent's hand anyways, so Wicked Roll doing that extra damage or setting up for more mana on the next turn. Spellbook Vendor is actually like a really good creature, dude. 2 mana 2/2 Vigilance isn't that bad of stats, but then the fact that you're constantly getting a little bit of value from this every turn for just 1 mana, extra Sorcerer roll, and then the Sorcerer roll gives you a lot of extra value too from the Scry. Vendor was really good today. Yeah, kind of feels underplayed. It is a human too, so I feel like we do see this pop up every now and then in humans. Ossification, it sure didn't feel like we had 4 of you in here. That's going to happen every now and then when you're playing Magic, right? That's just like Magic the Gathering. You see your removal when you don't need it, and then you never see your removal when you do need it. So, like, yeah, you know, that just happens every now and then. It's still going to be well worth it. I think the 14 basics was totally fine. I don't think the mana held us up too often, but sometimes 22 felt like 25, and sometimes, I mean, yeah, I guess other times it was kind of perfect, though, right? I think so. I think I'd stick with 22. And then sometimes we just flooded a little bit today, which, again, that's just Magic the Gathering. Katilda felt fine. A little bit expensive sometimes. The double white on Katilda and the double white on Archon, maybe that is a little greedy based on how the mana base is set up, but it just didn't feel greedy. You know what I mean? Especially with the treasure tokens. I guess I wouldn't change too much, guys, but I think also we want to put this one on the do not craft list. Just based on how the meta is, how brutal it is. Every time we try out something just a little bit different, we got to label it as jank because you're probably going to have a rough time. All in all, though, really wish I would have recorded that test match. No, there's a good reason I don't record test matches. Usually I just go into a test match if I think I'm going to change something significant about the build. And so, like, usually I test it and I end up changing half of the deck. So like it would be silly to record a full video and then in the final thoughts say, okay, so we take this half out and we substitute this half in. Archon of the Wild Rose was really good. It's too bad it doesn't have like at least Ward 1. Like flying Ward 1 would totally push this over the top for me, like as a build around card. Just anything that slows down the removal, but overall, it's like that bottom ability is so good. It requires setup, of course. You know what I could see? Dropping down to 3 Michiko's Reign of Truth. Now, technically, this is what the deck was built around, but maybe we just need something else. More creatures that actually have impact when it's actually played, too, you know? Guys, we're about 54 minutes in. If you made it this far into the video for real, y'all are champions. I super duper appreciate you. You know who else I appreciate? My patrons. Thank you so much for being a patron. We do have that Patreon link down in the description if you're interested in joining that up and supporting the channel that way. But also we have a Discord link down in the description too, where the community, just chats. It's nice. They talk about deck lists, drop suggestions, all that fun stuff too. So guys, did I bring up earlier that this was a suggestion down in the comments? I hope I did. Well, if I didn't, hey, 55 minutes later, this was a suggestion down in the comments. Thank you for the suggestion. All right, guys. Hey, thanks again for being here, and I will see you in the next one.